It never occurred to me that I could get a job in the games industry. So originally, my major was in accounting, but...
Welcome to That Vlog. I'm your host, Diane Wong. In this series, I'll be talking with folks from the game industry, such as people working in AAA, indie, education, tabletop, and other fields. Here we have Reyes, former game producer at Blizzard. Throughout the years, he has shared his wisdom of game production with many people in the game industry, both newbies and veterans. He's also my executive producer at the NYU Game Center Incubator and a very good friend. RJ.
Oh, and thank you once again, Diane, for inviting me.
Yeah, he drove all the way from Jersey to Brooklyn, so really glad and grateful to have you here.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
By the way, we are filming at the NYU Game Center right now. This is where I did my 2 years of MFA and later the incubator where I met RJ. Let's first talk about you.
Okay.
How did you get into games and what has your career been like? Trajectory.
So how did I get into games? I started all the way back in 2004, and it was an entirely different. The games industry was an entirely different world back then. So I did not have any educational background in games. So like my degree is in business administration. So I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I've been a gamer my entire life. But even as I was growing up, and then when I got into college, it never occurred to me that I could get a job in the games industry. So originally, my major was in accounting. By junior year, I realized, accounting isn't for me, so I just switched majors to business admin. But my first job out of college was I worked for an airline, British Airways. So I worked first out of Philly International Airport, and then through that British Airways experience, I was able to get a transfer to Los Angeles, to LAX. So, like on a whim, I thought, okay, I'll transfer to LA, live in California for maybe a year or whatever, and then come back because I grew up in the East Coast. But when I moved to Los Angeles, fell in love with it very quickly, and then I realized I'm probably gonna have to stay in LA for a while. So on one of my days off, I was on Craigslist. There was a posting for a quality assurance tester or a QA tester for THQ, and it's like, at that point, it just dawned on me. Wow, I live in LA, like the hub of game development in the US. I could get a job in the games industry. So I applied to be a QA tester. I think that was that was 2024.
2004.
Yeah, so what's that, 22 years. 22 years in the games industry. So the first few years of my career were in QA as a game tester. But from 2008 until now, I've been a game producer of one type or another. Much of the 2010s, I was a game producer. I was an indie producer. So I jumped around either as a contractor or full-time employed at various indie studios. After the pandemic, and I became a AAA game producer, I've worked at Amazon Games for a couple years. As a outsourcer, I worked for Epic, not at Epic, but I worked as a contractor for Epic on Lego Fortnite. And as you mentioned before, I was the senior outsourcing producer on the World of Warcraft team for Blizzard Entertainment. So anyway, yeah, most of my experience has been as a producer. I've been an adjunct professor teaching game development for a few years. Obviously, we met because I'm an advisor at the NYU Game Center Incubator. I dabble in consultation and business development whenever I can. But yeah, overall, I've just been in the games industry for, I guess, 22 years at this point. Started in QA, and then a whole lot of production work.